Now, just to go back briefly to Kamal Nath, we opened this conversation by saying Kamal Nath so far is not leaving. In the time that we've been talking, we know that there's a big meeting happening at Kamal Nath's house, and they have let it be known that Kamal Nath is very upset with Rahul Gandhi's RVJ lobby, Randeep Surjewala, KC Venugopal, and Jairam Ramesh. Now, you hear a lot of this, right? And you don't hear it, or you didn't hear it similarly about Ahmed Patel and Sonia Gandhi. And I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about whether it's just that the Congress was more popular and therefore people were more scared of the Gandhis, or is there a
No,
difference
no,
between
but
how Sonia
there's
Gandhi.
always, it's like a tradition in the Congress that because you can't attack the leader, you attack the so-called coterie. It's always the people around the leader. We now sort of venerate Ahmed Patel, but you should have heard things people said about Ahmed Patel when he was in a position of influence. In Mrs. Gandhi's time, Gyani Zel Singh, Arun Nehru, Pranab Mukherjee, the people around her were as abused. In Rajiv Gandhi's time, it was first the Arun Nehrus and Arun Singhs who were attacked. Later, it was Satish Sharma. That's a Congress tradition. I mean, as far as Kamal Nath is concerned, this is a man who was made chief minister of Madhya Pradesh against the advice of many people who said he has a slightly sleazy reputation. You need younger blood. They lost Jyotiraditya Scindia because of him. They lost the state because of him. He's still there as a big leader. For him to complain, I mean, what does he want them to do?
And he has taken down the Jai Shri Ram flag outside his home as rumors swirl about what he might do next. It's actually quite amusing for
Though, I mean,
journalists.
I have to say that there's a certain circularity. If you look at parallels of leaders who had the same kind of policies as Mr. Modi, I don't think Mr. Advani or Mr. Vajpayee were in any sense his predecessors. The man who really epitomized many of the things that Mr. Modi stands for now was Sanjay Gandhi. And Kamal Nath was Sanjay Gandhi chamcha, so maybe he's just coming to a spiritual home.
In fact, that comment has been made about how, many of Sanjay Gandhi's aides are the ones walking out, but that would be glossing over what's actually happening in the Congress. And you said that we forget today that people said all kinds of things about Ahmed Patel. We forget that even in the BJP, there were all of these internal politics with the Advani camp and the Vajpayee camp and all of that.
Right.
All true. But let's talk about the fact that Sonia Gandhi is now officially taking a step back from electoral politics. And my
Yep.
question was really going to be that you don't, even today, people may say things about Ahmed Patel, but they never really used to say things about Sonia Gandhi. There was some sort of, people, at least I haven't seen the kind of attacks that Rahul Gandhi faces
You
ever
know,
applied for his
until
mother.
Sonia Gandhi won the 2004 election, many people in the Congress, I think Kapil Sibal even wrote a letter saying that, said she was a fool, she was destroying the Congress, she should leave the Congress. Sangma, Tariq Anwar, Sharad Pawar all left the Congress saying, we can never win with this woman in charge. So you're remembering the Sonia Gandhi won the election, but before that, they said the same things about her.
But is there a difference in the Sonia Gandhi run Congress and the Rahul Gandhi controlled
Yes,
Congress?
that's a
Can we
different
can,
question, of
can,
course
can
there
we
is.
talk?
Sonia
Can we talk
Gandhi had
about
very strong political instincts. Sonia Gandhi was a listener. She may not have said much if people went to see her. She listened, she thought, she made up her mind. She was not a politician who worked by instinct or hunch. She was cautious, she took careful decisions. Rahul Gandhi, I think, believes he's an instinctive politician and he takes instinctive decisions, which is brilliant, except that his instincts are usually wrong.
But the way you make the argument, at least in your print column and in this conversation, you seem to suggest that Modi is such a force of nature at this moment that
Yeah.
whatever anybody does, they can travel the length of the country, they can make a sincere a sort of counter ideological argument to him. The Congress is drowning, and it's drowning not because of choices that it has made. It is drowning because this is that moment in Indian politics. That's almost what you seem to be saying.
No, I'm saying the Congress has made many mistakes, but I am saying that the reason the Congress is in this mess is not primarily because of those mistakes. It's primarily because it's very difficult, if not almost impossible, to oppose a politician like Mr. Modi when he's at his peak. Don't forget, this is a man who has never lost an election in his life, not in Gujarat, not in the center.
That's quite something. I had actually briefly forgotten that Modi has never ever lost an election in his life, and that has to give you some sense of political invincibility. But
Yeah.
let's talk in the end about the kind of opposition the Modi government does respond to. If you look at the last 9 years, they do engage with movements of the street that they believe have an electoral consequence. Farmers protests the first time, the second time, no matter how many BJP supporters may draw, links of Bhindranwale to the farmers, say they have links with Pannu, these are Khalistanis infiltrating the movement, etc. Even the second time around, you had three union ministers hold multiple rounds of talks, right? They may have put up all of these barricades and prevented the farmers from coming to Delhi, but they're engaging with the street. In the CAA time also, they may well operationalize it now before the elections, I don't know. But during the CAA protest, the protest against the Citizenship Amendment Act, then too, they halted the immediate implementation. So what it tells you is that they may not take the political opposition seriously or the organized political opposition seriously, but they do respond to the street. How do you read that?
Well, but I wrote in Indira Gandhi's time that because the parliamentary opposition was failing, the opposition came from parallel politics. And parallel politics in those days was another farmers' movement led by Sharad Joshi. It was industrial labor run by the people, the movement was run by people like Datta Samant. And I said that the danger with this kind of political protest on the streets and outside of parliament, which the government had to take seriously, was it was not unthinkable for that kind of protest to degenerate into violence and perhaps secessionism. And we actually do know what happened in Mrs. Gandhi's second term, whether it was Punjab, whether it was the agitation in Assam. So I think there is that danger. After that, all political parties, all politicians have gone out of the way to deal with people who go out on the streets. The most notable example, probably the most foolish example, because they should never have done that, was the last UPA government, UPA 2, and this farcical India against corruption with Anna Hazare, who they dumped under the bus when they formed their own political party. If you remember, 7 ministers went to the airport to receive Swami Ramdev. All political parties seem to believe that that kind of street-wide opposition has to be countered. And the UPA did a spectacularly bad job of countering it. The Modi government is doing better.
Finally, Veer, one of the challenges that I see for the opposition is that Mr. Modi has co opted a lot of the ideological spaces on which the opposition could fashion a counter response. Nationalism, gone. Hindutva, gone. Caste engineering, social engineering, whatever you want to call it, whether it's the Bharat Ratna to Karpuri Thakur, a very careful understanding by Amit Shah of the OBC vote, Modi claiming and not claiming, Modi identifying himself as an OBC prime minister in parliament, then the Congress response saying, no, you're not actually a real OBC and so on. The point I'm making is literally every space you think of, welfareism, nationalism, social engineering, Hindutva, it's all used, deployed, weaponized by the BJP very effectively. So, what is the opposition to do? Who is the opposition? Which actually means that it's not ideology but personality that is needed to counter Modi.
Yeah, I mean, every time I agree with you, but every time I say this, there's a counter to this, which is sure, why doesn't it work in South India then? And the answer to that has to be that yes, he's used welfareism, the sort of welfareism he inherited from the UPA, much better than the UPA did. He's taken nationalism that Mrs. Gandhi used to take in a much stronger way than Indira Gandhi ever did. He's done many things right. And yet, at the end of the day, his appeal, his strongest appeal, ends in the Hindi speaking states with a few exceptions, maybe Assam, etc. If all of this was so unbeatable, why doesn't he sweep South India every time? So there are chinks in that armor. There are weaknesses. The opposition just hasn't found them.
Yeah, that's an interesting question, and it will be also interesting to see how much Modi focuses on the South if he takes a
He's
third term, which
focusing now very hard on the South. I mean, in almost every speech, there's some reference to the South. He goes off to Kerala, or to Dubai, which is nearly the same thing. And he tries to talk in Malayalam, etc. He's trying very hard. But will they see him as a leader from the Hindi belt, or will they see him as a national leader? The one advantage the Congress had was that they were always seen as national leaders. Unfortunately, they're not seen as Hindi belt leaders any longer, and that's why they're in this mess.
Do you believe that there's any surprise or any sort of development that you'd still be following closely from now till the elections, or do you believe the elections are a kind of done deal?
Well, you're talking to a man who, when Vajpayee was up against Sonia Gandhi, told everybody, including Sonia Gandhi, Vajpayee is going to win by a landslide, get used to it. And you know what happened. So I no longer predict elections.
Yeah, even Vajpayee thought he was going to win by landslide.
That's right.
Even Sonia Gandhi thought Vajpayee was going
Thought
to
we are.
win
So,
by
so I no
landslide.
longer make predictions.
Okay, I know I keep saying last question. Really, this is really the last question. You wrote in another column that don't expect a softer prime minister in his third term.
Yeah.
It's going to be more of the same, etc. But you see, since I think you wrote that column, some minor developments taking place that could raise a question mark around that. Mr. Modi holds on Christmas Day a
We,
meeting
we
with
had this
Christians.
conversation last time, and you
We
thought
did.
and thought, and you said he invited people home for Christmas, and he sent some message to some Muslims. And that was pretty much all you could think of.
Well, I'm wondering, and I don't know for sure,
Uh,
whether this Pasmanda Muslim outreach,
yeah,
they've actually,
that's the example you gave last time. But
yeah,
not much more has come of it, no?
not so far, not so
Yeah.
far. But I'm just wondering whether you still believe that we will see exactly the same sort of
I think we will see the
politics.
same sort of politics, but I think, and God forbid, I hope that doesn't happen, when you have a minority, which is what, 14 to 15% of the population, you have a new generation, it'll be in our 10, 11 years, that has seen what they consider some level of discrimination. There will be anger. That anger will come out in the streets. I think if Mr. Modi is smart, and of course, he's the smartest politician we've ever seen, he will find some way of addressing that anger.
There's been a lot of talk that if Rahul Gandhi were to declare that he's never going to be prime minister, much like Sonia Gandhi did, that if he were to make it clear that his attachment to politics is an act of
But he
public
has said that,
service.
Barkha. He said, I don't want to be prime minister to many people. I think he said it on record as well. Unfortunately, there's no point saying you're not going to be prime minister if congressmen genuflect everywhere you go and act like you're the supreme leader. No? I
No,
personally don't think he wants to be prime minister. And on the subject of Sonia Gandhi, she said she was going to be prime minister right till the end. She never wanted to be prime minister, but she only announced she wouldn't be prime minister after the UPA was formed because she was terrified that if she'd stepped down and said that earlier, Lalu and co would have staked their claim. It was only clear when they decided she'd be prime minister that she revealed her mind and put Manmohan Singh forward.
you're right. My producer just pulled out Rahul Gandhi's statement from 2013 saying he's not in politics to become prime minister. He wants
Yeah.
to serve. He wants to serve the Congress. The point is nobody believes it because when you
That's what I
saw
said. I mean, it's nice to say that, but they keep genuflecting around you and acting like you're the crown prince. You have a credibility problem.
and that's the point, right? When even when it came to naming a convener or a candidate for prime ministership at the India Alliance, it all went to hell because Mamta Banerjee proposed Kharge's name, Nitish Kumar wanted that job, Kharge said no, no. So basically, everybody thinks that Kharge is a placeholder for the moment when Rahul Gandhi can be prime minister. So
You think it, it's
nobody
possible.
believes
Listen,
that.
in a country where Deve Gowda can be prime minister, anything is possible.
We haven't spoken about one Gandhi, and the reason to end with speaking
About
about
who?
her, I said there's one Gandhi we haven't spoken about, and
Priyanka
that
Gandhi is.
and it becomes relevant only
Yeah,
because Sonia Gandhi is moving to the Rajya Sabha, and there's an anticipation that Priyanka could contest either Raebareli or somewhere else. We don't know. Um,
yeah.
there was a time when that was the great enigma, the great political enigma in the Congress. I don't know anybody responds like that anymore. Is that still a factor?
I don't think it'll make a lot of difference. I'm sure she's a competent politician. People in her area in Raebareli, where she's worked for many, many years, seem to respect her, seem to like her. We forget that when Satish Sharma fought Arun Nehru had finally gone to the party, he should have gone to begin with the BJP, and Satish Sharma was fighting from the Congress. Priyanka destroyed Arun Nehru's candidacy with one speech in that constituency. So, yes, Priyanka does have certain power within that constituency. If she were able to mobilize women voters who, on the whole, have not shown a clear preference, so some polls say they're not as keen on Mr. Modi as others, some say the opposite, it could make a difference. But could she get up there and challenge Mr. Modi? Hard to believe yet.
Let's end where your column started. You said the Congress is drowning. Do you believe the Congress, like has happened in the past, will split? Do you believe that a mutiny is needed to save the Congress? Do you believe, as Yogendra Yadav once used to say, and no longer says today, that the Congress needs to die for a new opposition to emerge?
Yeah, but Yogendra Yadav said that, and his party was AAP. I think AAP needs to die for a new opposition in Delhi to start, and Yogendra Yadav will probably agree with that, given his experiences with AAP. No, so I don't believe any party needs to die. I think the Congress needs to get its act together. The Labour Party, to use our preferred example from earlier, got its act together after Thatcher and Major. I think the Congress can do it. How, when, I don't know, but fortnight is a long time in politics.
Always fascinating, Veer. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Take care.